I finally feel like I've settled into my digital home, and I honestly can't be more excited. It's interesting the freedom that I feel to create and to share now that I have a space that is my own and is dedicated for me to share whatever I'm interested in on. So, for years, I moved from service to service in the hopes that one of them would be the ideal solution for my online blogging and interest sharing needs. And last week, I would have spoken about that, that kind of struggle, comparing some of the platforms that I tried and that journey. But that was on Wednesday, and on Friday, I had a day off, and I kind of sat down and decided that I was not going to leave my desk until I had a working solution. I knew that one of the most important features for me was the layout, and I wanted the theme to be very minimal, simple, but also functional. So I went back through the list that I compiled of personal websites and digital gardens that I liked, and eventually I came across one using the theme that I am currently that I currently have on my website. So today, that's what I'm going to go through, why I chose this platform, how I set it up, and my current workflow using it. Right, so as you can see here, this is what the website looks like, the home page. I'm going to click into this in a bit, but first let's just have a look at the actual setup so that you can kind of have an idea of if this video will be useful to you or not. The site is built using Hugo, which is a static site generator. The theme that I'm using is the PaperMod theme by Aditya Talange. And the only way that I was able to use these things is via YouTube tutorials, which I have and will show you in the next section. So, having said that, full disclaimer, prior to discovering this theme, I had very little knowledge on what a static site generator even was, right? I'm certainly not knowledgeable enough now to educate you on what this is, how it works, the difference between this and more of a dynamic generator. I'm just now learning all of these things. So all in all, I have zero coding experience, and everything that I've learned so far has been from these teachers on YouTube, right? So all the technical answers or questions, I have to go on YouTube or Google or one of the forums to get an answer to it. I literally did not have a GitHub account before this. I did not have a text editor like Visual Studio Code, and I had no idea what Netlify was or how you can use it to kind of host, I don't even know if host is the right word, your website for free. But the most important thing is that each of the YouTube videos that I'm going to show you in a bit is going to show you exactly how to do that. Again, I have zero knowledge about this, and I was able to do it. So how this kind of happened is I essentially found a theme that I really liked. So I found this theme from someone else's garden or someone else's website, and I decided that I was going to figure out how to just implement that right into some way or the other into my own workspace. I did, because this is not simple sort of applications in terms of like drag and drop site builder. And because I have no coding knowledge, I did make some pretty big mistakes early on, to the point where I thought that I would not be able to use it because of the mistake that I made. But then I kind of just really thought about it and tried to look on different forums, tried to get an answer. And eventually, with that mistake that I did, I had to kind of start the process over. But I'll talk about that towards later on in the pros and cons section, right? So this is kind of the general kind of bare bones skeleton of what I had to use to build it. So now let's actually have a look at my website. This is it. It doesn't look very flashy. I mean, it looks so simple, but that's what I love about it, right? So just going to give you a quick tour. So up here, site title, we have a toggle for dark mode and light mode based on your preference. We have navigation links at the top here. And a quick just about, I have some links as well here to the same links that are up there. I have some social icons, email, YouTube, Twitter, and the rest of this homepage is essentially all of the posts that I have in chronological order from most recent back. The bottom here we have just a next button so we can see the rest of the posts that I have, and we have this button to go back to the top of the page. Very simple, very nice. Now a few of the things I'm just going to point out before I go into these links up here, what kind of made me fall in love with this theme. Other than the simplicity, simple font, other than the general layout, very, very small things like the rounded edges of pictures. So each picture that you add, each photo that you add to a blog post or to a page is gonna have these nice little rounded edges. I mean, that's so small, but I really appreciate that and I like that. I like this kind of shadow, I don't know if you call this a shadow, but this box that the posts are in. So that's one thing that I really like. I like that it came built in with, the theme comes built in with the back up to top button. And the thing that I like the most is the archive, right? Look at how beautiful this archive is. I mean, it's sorted based on date, right? You have the date of the post, the month, it's grouped by month, and it's also grouped by year. And you also have this little number in the top right corner that shows you how many posts that you would have had for that month and how many posts for the year. And I just find this so simple. It's so beautiful. Like when I saw the archive page on someone else's blog, I was like, okay, I need this theme. Like I need this theme because I love to go on someone's website or garden and be able to see everything that they talk about. You know, it's kind of similar to how I spoke about being able to view the points of entry initially or view the tags initially, which you can also do via these links up here. And it's just, I like the layout, and I like that I can go and see everything in chronological order. Categories. So this I kind of use as my points of entry, right? So these are the main categories or the main points of entry into my notes. These are the things that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the digital workspace. I want to write about philosophy once I get to more reading. Obviously, I'm going to have personal posts. Obviously, I'm going to have medical related notes. And of course, anything related to books will go under the library. And the tags are like subcategories. So within the category of the library, I will have book notes, right? Within the category of the digital workspace, I will have things on digital garden, or I already have writing on Tana or tools for thought. So if I click on, let's say if I click on book notes, I am going to see all of the posts that I have tagged as book notes come up here. If I go to categories, and I go to library, I'm going to see all of the posts that I have tagged in the library, which is essentially the same as book notes for now. But I would also have, or I could also have other posts that belong to the library but aren't necessarily my notes on the book, right? I have a link to the library because I want this to be something that people can easily navigate to. And this is essentially what a page looks like with this template. You can choose to add a cover image. Each post will come with a table of contents if you decide to turn that feature on in the metadata of the post. And then you have the body of content, right? Of course, you can add images, lists, and I like that I can navigate via the table of contents because I have this bird's eye view to see. I can go all the way to the books that I read in 2013 and etc. Right? I can also link, of course, to other notes within the on the website, like my notes on this book. And of course, we have the book notes tag here, and I can come back and see. So that's essentially the library. And I have an explore page, which is a collection of my links. So people can kind of navigate within the actual garden or within the actual website. But I also have other links like my media database, so people can come and see. This is opening up in my Notion, but you can come and see what I've been looking at, etc. I have a link to the Workspace Wednesday playlist, so you can link to whatever you want in a page like Explore. You can name it links. You can do whatever you want there. So that's the general layout. Let's have a look at the actual other themes, well, and the theme that I used on Hugo's theme directory. So if you do want to use Hugo, there are other, of course, static site generators that you can use, but again, I went with this because I found this theme, the PaperMod theme, and I really kind of fell in love with it. And that's why I decided to go with Hugo, because this theme was built specifically for Hugo. But you can come and have a look at all of the themes that are available here and see if any of them kind of speaks out to you. You can look at a demo of it to see what it actually looks like, and you can go from there and see what works best for you, right? After the theme, of course, I was like, okay, I know I want to use the PaperMod theme, but I don't know anything about how Hugo works or how these things work. So of course I went to YouTube, and it just so happened that this video, getting started with Hugo, actually uses the actual video tutorial, uses the PaperMod theme. So I essentially kind of lucked out there because I was going to get this step-by-step video showing me not only how to use Hugo, but how to use it and implement the exact same theme that I wanted my personal website to be on. So that was pretty cool, and I guess lucky. If you choose a different theme, of course, you can go into YouTube and kind of search for tutorials, or Google, search for tutorials if you don't have, the knowledge, or if you don't know how these things work. Of course, if you do, then I'm not sure why you'd be watching this video in the first place. But this video was extremely, extremely helpful. And I essentially just started watching it and went along step by step. That's how I knew that I needed to have a GitHub account. That's how I knew that I needed to download Visual Studio Code, which is here, because that was the text editor that the instructor used in the video. There are other playlists on YouTube, like this one, this person, Mike is his name. He has lots of tutorials on different sites and different coding related material. But if this guy did not explain something as clearly as I needed it to be, I went and kind of followed along and tried to get an answer in this tutorial. Lastly, I did look at these two videos as well. This one helped me towards the end because I did use a Namecheap. My domains are hosted on Namecheap, and this guy essentially showed me how to step by step how to connect the Namecheap domain with Netlify. Netlify is what this instructor used to, I'm going to say host, that could be incorrect, but the website, so that you can have a domain name. But Netlify gives you a default kind of domain name that you can use. So my own could have been, instead of being renesworkspace.com, it could have been renesworkspace.netlify.com. But because I wanted mine to be the custom domain, I did have to purchase that from Namecheap. This Abdur Rahman's, his video helped me as well, just to see how he was using it, how he was using the theme. I got some ideas on how to better manage my workflow in Visual Studio Code from his workflow. And essentially, that is what I did. I just watched these videos and followed along and crossed my fingers and hoped that nothing was going to break, until it did break and I had to figure out how to fix it. Quickly, some pros and cons. So everything is essentially free. I only had to pay for the domain name. Visual Studio Code is free to download. Netlify is free to use. Hugo is free to use. The theme was free. I am going to donate to the theme creator because, he maintains the theme, he made the theme, and it's perfect for what I need right now. So I would like to help him and just to say thank you. There are a variety of themes, as you would have seen on the Hugo site. And there is an active forum for you to ask questions. However, if you have theme-related questions, it's recommended that you ask the theme developer or the theme creator. Con, only one con. If you're like me and you're very low-techy and in terms of coding, then you're going to come into the problem that I came into, or you may come into the problem that I came into, which is that I made a mistake in the code, in the Visual Studio Code. I made a mistake. I went playing around in places that I should not have been playing around, and I could not undo the action that I did. I didn't know how. I tried Googling, I tried searching on the Hugo forum, and the problem is that when you don't know when you don't have the knowledge about something, you don't even know what the problem could be. So I can't even search for the problem because I don't know what I did wrong. So when I made that mistake, I was actually finished with the website. I had finished doing everything. This would have been like Saturday night. I finished everything, and then I decided, hey, you know what? I don't like this space here. What is wrong with me and these spaces? I don't know, but essentially when I had less text here, this space was bigger or more noticeable. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to go into the CSS and to remove this space. I did search the forums. It was a concern for other people. Thankfully, I'm not the only one who's weird like that. But before I searched the forum, I tried to fix it myself, and essentially that ended up nothing was updating in real time anymore. Something happened, something broke, and I didn't know how to fix it. So I had to start over again. The entire process, I had to make a new site. Fortunately, all of this is free, and start over from scratch. It didn't take me long because I already knew what I had to do, but I still had to spend all this extra time because of the mistake that I made, right? So that is a con. If you don't know how to use this kind of stuff, and if you don't have someone that can help you, like if you have a friend or something that can help you, then great, then you should definitely use it. But just for you to be aware. Okay, this video is getting kind of long, 20 minutes. Let's move on. So now I wanted to show you the actual, how it looks inside of, oh my God, I just opened up NetNewsFire by mistake, inside of Visual Studio Code. So this Renee's Workspace, this folder contains everything that I need to, all of the files for the website, right? The main place that I have been working in is the content folder. Now, all of this mirrors the folder Renee's Workspace on my desktop. It mirrors exactly. So if I add something to here, it's going to show up here as well, right? So all of the posts on my website are in these folders. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is not a wise idea to number the folders like this. For example, I just have this is a markdown file, which contains the content of this blog post. For example, if I go back to the website, and I go to that post, you will see, it's the same, it's the content that's there written in Markdown, right? So this is the same thing. It has this, each post has these, this metadata, and it corresponds. This is what you have to enter in and to change in order to adjust the title of the blog post, the date. If you put draft as true, then it's not going to show up on your website. But if you put it as false, then it will show up. Your tags and my categories, as you would have seen. So I kind of nested everything into these folders. Again, might not be the wisest idea, but it's what I did at the time, and it's what I kind of stuck with. The explore page is here, so you can see all of the links in Markdown, and the library is also here, all of the links and everything in Markdown. So let's create a post so that I can show you kind of how this works. Sorry, I was getting a call. Right. Okay, I lost my train of thought because I was getting that call. Where was I? Okay, right. So I was gonna show you how to add a new post. So the first thing I do, well, everything kind of starts off actually where I write my posts, which is in Notion. So I have this writing page where I have a Kanban board to show me the stage in the process of writing that my notes are in. And then I have my ideas below here. So let's say that I want to have I want to add this post to either an idea or to in progress. I just drag it, and then I'm able to start writing inside. But anyways, so let's say this is a post that I want to add to my website. So I'm going to click on it. Now in Notion, there are two ways that you can kind of work with Markdown. You can write directly in the body of the page. You can do a header one, and you can put the title here, and you can essentially do this entire process like that, copy it and then paste it into Visual Studio Code, or you can actually have a code block. So if you go code, a code snippet, you can, well, I already have it set to Markdown, but you can change whatever language it is that you want, and you can write inside of here. So that's what I did up here. The reason why I went with the code block as opposed to writing the body of the page is because if I were to kind of, let me see, copy this, paste it here, it was doing something where there was spaces in between. So I'm going to go into, why do I keep opening up NetUse 5? I'm going to go into Visual Studio Code, and I am going to create a new post folder. So new folder, I'm going to 22. I created that in the wrong place. Yes, I want to undo that. So you want to make sure that you're creating it here under posts. And then I'm going to do a new file inside of this folder. And I'm going to name that Burnout Society.md. And this creates this markdown file. I have to put the metadata up there, but I just wanted to show you. Okay, it's copying and pasting here pretty well now, of course, because it's in the video. Let me go back to Notion and do this bit, because I think this is where the problem was. So if I copy this, paste it here, and then if I copy this, and I go back to here, okay, it's not working. So I guess you can use either one. But, I think what it is if you type directly. So what I'm doing is I'm copying and pasting. So let's do title. Let's delete this. Let's say I just wanted to start typing in here. It has to do with that enter, right? So if I do date, title, if I do draft, and if I copy this and I paste it here, right, this is what I mean. There are these spaces. So if you start writing directly into the body of the Notion page, you're going to have to come and remove all these spaces. Like, I don't know, maybe you don't have to remove it, but I don't want to see those spaces there. So, wrong place. So I just write everything in this markdown code block. So, and the good thing about Notion is that you could have templates where you just have this in these fields here, this metadata fields blank, and you essentially can just fill in based on what type of post you're going to be doing. So if I'm doing a blog post about books, so if I'm writing up my notes on this book, then I will choose the note template, which contains a blank sort of markdown one of these, but with book notes already here, categories already here, etc. So I have this here. I've already entered in the title, I've entered in the date, I've entered in the tags, and I've put the pathway for the image that I want to use in the blog post, right? Currently, I have not added the image to this folder yet, but I will show you how that is done. So I'm going to copy this. Let's say this is the post that I want to go to, well, I want to publish on my website. I'm going to go to Visual Studio Code and I'm going to paste this in here. Right. So now within this folder, I want to put the image that I want to correspond as the cover for this post. So if I go to my downloads folder, well, first I go to the actual folder on my desktop. I go to content, posts. This, you see the markdown file was already created here. And I'm going to drag the image that I want, which is this one. And you will see that that also has shown up here. I can minimize this, and this is the path, right? So posts / the folder name, and then I want to make sure that this image is correct. burnoutsociety.png. Great. So essentially that is all of the information that I want for the post is here. I'm going to do Command S to save all of these changes. And I am going to then come across here and commit these changes. I have no idea what commit means. This is just what they say. This is just the language that they use. I'm sure that I can Google and kind of see what commit means, but essentially my understanding is that it's going to push all of these changes to GitHub, and it's going to then show up on my website. So you have to enter a command. So I'm going to put new post, and I'm just going to click commit, and then I'm going to click sync changes. And if I give that a few seconds, it should show up on my blog. So let's go across here to the blog. It's not here yet, but it will be here soon. I'm gonna refresh again. It's still not there. It takes maybe a minute. There we go. That looks a bit ominous, but this is the blog post. If I click on it, I'm going to see the title. I'm going to see the image. It automatically generates a table of contents based on the headings. So this table of contents only have one thing because I just have one heading. I have the text that the paragraph that I would have written, and I have a quote from the book. I have my tag, which is book notes. So if I click on book notes, you'll see it here. And I'm sure that if I click on library, you will see it here as well. That is the workflow. Very simple. I only integrate with Notion because of the fact that I do a lot of writing on mobile. So I do a lot of writing on my phone, and therefore it's just easier for me to be able to have everything here and be able to write, and then to publish I just have to come into Visual Studio Code. I keep clicking. Anyways, I just have to come into here and type in, well, copy and paste, and essentially click commit the changes to publish it to my website. And that is it. I find it a simple process once you get past the tutorials themselves. But I like it so far, and that's why I have kept with it. All right, so now how are people going to be able to keep up with the posts? I'm saying people like if there are people actually reading my blog, but if I wanted to share, or if I wanted to, of course, I could send the link, renniesworkspace.com, to friends and anybody else that might be interested. But I can also, you can also subscribe via an RSS reader. So the one that I use is the one that I've been clicking on all this damn video, which is NetNewsWire. And you can see here that I have a few categories and folders for everything that I kind of want to keep up to date with, like my favorite gardens, my newsletters as well, and anything related to books. So I just decided to group it based on kind of like topic as opposed to just other groupings, but this has been working for me. So let's say I want to add this website to my RSS reader, my website that is. You just copy the URL, go into NetNewsWire, click add, new web feed, it's already there, and click add, and you can see that I have This is a post that I would have just posted. And yeah, if I wanted to subscribe to my own blog, I would do this, but I don't. So I'm gonna delete the feed. But that's how easy it is to subscribe without having to get emails, flooding your inbox with an RSS reader. Additionally, I may start a newsletter. I've kind of just already have this on Substack, the sign up page, to kind of do a weekly review where I will also post links to the different notes that I publish on my website. So that is kind of I'm still thinking about the utility of it. If anybody will read it is neither here nor there. But if I will enjoy actually doing that, kind of like a weekly review via newsletter where I include the links, because I now have the ability to link to each blog post or each note that I make on my website. And that is essentially it. That's how I was able to set up my website, my digital home. I'm very happy with it. And please feel free to share your own digital home, personal website, or digital garden below. And if you're also using something similar, if you're using the exact same Hugo theme and the exact same videos and process, and you have any questions, I am very happy to answer them if I can.